Hey folks, this clip is brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. For better coverage, better rates, and better service, go to fbhp.com/ATOZ. That is Farm Bureau Health Plans. So Zach, you wrote this article that is about, we can go ahead and say it for anybody that hasn't seen it actually on A to Z Sports.com. If you don't read what Zach writes, obviously, what are you doing with your life? Go over to A to Z Sports.com and read Zach's articles. Clemson, supposedly, according to Cade Klubnik, the quarterback that Tennessee beat in the Orange Bowl, Clemson is going to essentially be copycatting Tennessee's offense, apparently. But you wrote about this. What happened, Zach?
Yeah, Clemson's already started their spring practice, and Klubnik met with the media. If you don't know, Clemson hired Garrett Riley to be their new offensive coordinator. Lincoln Riley's brother comes from TCU. He kind of has, well, he doesn't kind of, he does have his roots in the air raid system. Played at Texas Tech under Mike Leach. Ended up at ECU. When I think he was, ECU. Lincoln Riley was there under Ruffin McNeil. So I don't think they're planning to run like an air raid any more than Tennessee does. Josh Heupel has his roots in the air raid system too, but that's not necessarily what Tennessee does. There's some similarities in some sense, but it's really a completely different system. And it sounds like what Klubnik is talking about is more about Tennessee's, offense. He's talking about running as fast as possible with the tempo, shrinking their playbook from 80 plays, what he said they had last year, to about 30. He said they've been focusing on about 15. And one of the comments that he said that Garrett Riley made kind of made me think about Tennessee in a way. He said that Garrett Riley said, look, I don't care if they know what play we're running. We're going to run it, and we're still going to score because they're not going to be able to stop it. And that's almost Tennessee's philosophy in a lot of ways. A lot of times you knew what Tennessee was going to do. You knew, like in the Kentucky game and Jalen Hyatt's second touchdown that game, they had Hyatt split out. I think he was split out with Brew McCoy, and Brew McCoy was out, closer to the sideline. They do their little switch release. You know what's coming. I mean, you automatically know that Hyatt's going deep, and the safety gets confused, doesn't go with Hyatt. He's wide open in the end zone for the touchdown. It's what Tennessee does. You know what they're going to do. You can't stop it. And it's like Dabo saw that, fired Brandon Streeter, 8-9 days later after the Orange Bowl, and then goes and makes a hire that's going to completely change their offensive philosophy, similar to the team that he just got beat by 17 points in the Orange Bowl. So, yeah, it does certainly seem like Clemson saw what Tennessee does, has seen the results, and Dabo, he's always been a CEO type coach, which I think is why he's had the success he's had at Clemson, is he's kind of let his coordinators do what they need to do. And he's the rah-rah guy. He's the face of the program type guy. It works. He's an odd guy, but it works. So, yeah, I mean, it feels like we're probably going to see a lot more of this. It's either this or the other extreme where Alabama's going more to like a, two tight end, run the ball, run first offense, kind of like Georgia did at times. It's one or the other. Control the clock or do what Tennessee does. Clemson's clearly going the latter route. And it's funny. I'll be interested to see the media reaction to some of this spring as this becomes a bigger story, because Klubnik talked about how much he loved the offense, how fun it is. Will they hammer Clemson as much for it as they do Tennessee and call it a gimmick or call it simple or all this stuff that we've heard about Tennessee's offense? Or will it, they kind of go the Dabo route and give him a little more slack running this offense and not make as big of a deal about it?
They're definitely not going to do it. They're going to praise it and say that it's so good, and they're probably going to say that Clemson revolutionized it and that they were the ones. I mean, you just take your pick, because the media, they all hate Tennessee so much. We all know what's going to happen there. But Farm Bureau Health Plans has been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years, and much has changed in Tennessee over the years, but some has stayed the same. Farm Bureau Health Plans has always valued personal relationships, especially when it comes to good health and good service. Plan on Farm Bureau Health Plans for health, dental, and vision. For better coverage, better rates, and better service, go to fbhp.com/ATOZ or walk into one of their 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. That is fbhp.com/ATOZ. Farm Bureau Health Plans. No, I mean, I'm pretty much with Elias in the comments here. He says, I'm only hesitant because This is the 11 billionth time I've heard an experienced coach switching to some great new scheme only to have them half implement it and then abandon it. But if they pull it off, good Lord.
That
Yeah.
if they pull it off.
It's a big if. It's
You
a big
don't
if.
just run this offense or you don't just say I'm going to run this offense and then you run it the way Tennessee does. We've talked about this a lot. Like part of why it works for Tennessee is because of how well coached it is. The details, the tiny little details that you might not even notice, like a receiver ends on this side of the field, the next play is called for him to maybe not be in the action and the plays over here for whatever reason. Those tiny little details and running it so efficiently is what makes it work, because other places try to do it. Oklahoma runs pretty much the same offense. They actually ran more plays per game than Tennessee did last year. They weren't as effective at it, and we know Oklahoma has some talent. I mean, now Lincoln Riley didn't, some guys left, but he didn't leave the cupboard completely bare. There's talent there. So it's not just, hey, we're going to do this and score 46 points a game just like Tennessee. Good luck, doing that. It's not as easy as it looks.
It's not. And that will come out when this stuff happens. Because we predicted this. I mean, we go back and look. We said this is going to make people copy what Josh Heupel is doing. I wish I could go back and find exactly where we said that, because I know we did. Because when you go out in the SEC, in the best league in all of college football, and you go and you win 11 games, people are going to look around and go like, "Oof, how did they do that?" And you know exactly how they did it. They did it with this amazing offense that Tennessee had. It was the number one offense in America, and it killed basically everybody but Georgia. And so I think that this is the beginning of something that's going to be pretty interesting to see how it plays out. Can they actually implement it like Josh Heupel? I tend to go with like Mr. Jones here. He says it's secret. That's why Heupel is so close to the vest about his system. I don't know. You can only hide so much because you run the plays on television and everybody can see them. You can only hide so much. But yeah, these other coaches aren't behind closed doors at Tennessee, although you have a guy like an Alex Golish who's now out there, and he was behind all those closed doors, and it's in, he has it all. He was there. He ran the thing with Josh Heupel. So eventually you're going to get dudes that get disseminated out into college football that know what Heupel is doing. You can't keep it secret forever.
Well, hey, how many coaches have coached under Nick Saban and tried to replicate what he's done?
Exactly. Yep. I mean, you had that dude, the freaking bald guy, came here, and he wanted to be Nick Saban.
What?
the bald guy. that's what I just we're not going to say his name right.
Okay.
Screw that guy. The bald guy showed up, and he wanted to be Saban, and he couldn't. You have to do what Saban does. You have to be Saban. Like, it just doesn't work unless you have what he has done and the power behind it. So with that being said, we'll see how much success they actually have with this. Klubnik's going to be a good quarterback in time. I don't know if it'll be this season or maybe the next. But he's going to figure it out, and they got dudes. They've been recruiting at a high level for years and years now. Not at the same level as your Alabamas and Georgias, but Saban has beat all those guys, and he's figured, or not Saban, sorry, Dabo has beat all those guys as much of a idiot as we kind of all think he is. He has beat them all over the years. So he didn't get to where he's at by being a bad coach. So maybe he can do it, but I'll believe it when I see it. I'll put it that way. If you can copy it, more credit to you. They're probably gonna, run the table in the ACC like they do most years. But it would be fun to see them try it and have it be a total failure. That would also be fun. So I'm hoping for the latter, but you probably get closer to the first one.
You know what else they did? And you can tell me if you think this is fair or foul or a big deal